The most underrated car of the century. The BMW i8 is the most misunderstood, underappreciated, and underrated car of the last 25 years. And in this video, I'm gonna take this car on a road trip and tell you the top 5 reasons why. When you look at what used performance cars slash supercars enthusiasts are excited about right now, what's hot, what's having its moment, cars like, well, any Porsche 911 really, but specifically like the 997 and definitely the 991 911 are hot right now. People can't seem to get enough of 991 Porsche 911s. And then if you go a little bit more upmarket, vehicles like the Ferrari 458, definitely hot. Audi R8, used R8s are having a moment right now. And yet nobody seems to know what to make of or think of or do with the little BMW i8. It's a car that's got some following, but it's very niche, and especially based on what used car prices are doing right now, this thing isn't having its moment in the sun. Definitely not. Number 5, performance. The BMW i8 takes a mechanical engineer's brain just to understand how this thing is propelled down the road. So behind me is a gasoline engine. It's a 3-cylinder, 12-valve turbocharged engine made into a 6-speed Aisin automatic transmission. You're probably thinking, all right, who cares? Makes perfect sense. Now that engine is paired with an electric motor, so it's a hybrid. Once again, makes perfect sense, but I am just getting started because it's not just any hybrid, it's a plug-in hybrid. There is a 7-ish kilowatt-hour battery that runs down the spine of the i8. But I'm still getting going because up front is another motor that powers the front axle. There's no drive shaft between the front and the back, and then there's a separate 2-speed automatic for that front motor. Now, all of that combined, all of those goobly bits combined, make 357 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a ton. However, when you get this car into the right setting, at the right time, and you get launch control going, it is unbelievably quick. Way more than 357 horsepower would have you believe. So, let's talk about what I mean. 0 to 60 when this car was new was claimed about 3.8 seconds. A quarter mile about 12.4, which even by 2025 standards is still pretty good. But I strongly believe these cars were very underrated from the factory. And I'll tell you what I mean. Up here, where I live in Colorado, at a mile above sea level, you typically lose about a second, second and a half in the quarter mile, and about a second 0 to 60. But because of the turbocharger on that gasoline engine, and because of the hybrid system, and because of what I believe BMW just underrating these cars, consistently, this car will blow the doors off cars with 500 horsepower. What I mean is we drag race this car against a new S650 5-liter 10-speed V8 Mustang, blew the doors off of it. Great launch of the i8 actually shifts super hard.
Oh, he launched well. Oh, wow. That i8 is so quick off the line. That's insane.
There's 85 miles an hour and 90 miles an hour and 100 miles an hour.
Oh, I've never seen something take off from this Mustang like that. This Mustang is quick. No way.
We dragged this car against a C8 Corvette with a Z51 package and the performance exhaust, 495 horsepower. i8 beat that. Didn't engage launch control, but it doesn't matter.
Come on, get grip. Come on. He's ahead of me, but I'm going to catch up to him.
I'm still winning. Is it going to come back?
As long as I don't run out of runway.
Man, this i8 is still pulling on him. What in the hell? Okay, BMW shoot so far above its weight class. And I know the numbers on paper aren't very good, but just go drive one. And don't just drive one in the normal mode, because when you drive it in normal mode, yeah, it's got some oomph, but it doesn't feel that impressive. What you have to do to really knock your socks off in an i8, sport mode, traction off, hard on the left foot brake, full throttle, launch control engaged, and let go. And this car is a proper little rocket ship. And keep in mind, folks, hybrids, you know, we think of as heavy. All-wheel drive systems we think of as heavy, but because this car is a full carbon monocoque, it only weighs about 3,500 pounds, which is not bad for a plug-in hybrid, all-wheel drive, tech-laden luxury car. If you look at some of the features in here, it's very, very impressive. Number 4 is the design. The concept of this car debuted in the Mission Impossible movie all the way back in 2011. And when the production version came out just a few years later, everybody thought it would look much different, toned down, more boring. But honestly, the production version looks almost as good and in some ways better than that crazy concept from Mission Impossible. And I still think that this BMW, going on 11 years old, is better looking than any new modern BMW available today. I think it's got the perfect proportions. It's got some cool little design features without being overdone. It's just a gorgeous car. The profile is great, the head-on is great, the rear is okay, but with those flying buttresses and those crazy little scoops, it's just a fantastic looking booty. And as a whole, oh man, even today, all right, this is not a particularly valuable car. We pay less for this car than the average new car price. People stop you. They stop you to ask what new BMW is that. I've had people even, ask me, how do you afford a $130,000 car? They don't understand that this is now a $40,000 car. It looks that good and that futuristic. Number 3, comfort. This BMW is a mile muncher. Now today I'm on a 350-ish mile road trip from Colorado to South Dakota, and what a machine for this little trip. Now, first thing I want to talk about is the visibility. So many sports cars and supercars are like being in a pit. You sit down on the floor, the sills are high, the windshields are small, and that looks great, especially if you're in a Transformer movie, Camaro. But when you're actually trying to see the beautiful landscape that is the United States, it's not so good. And the BMW i8 has a huge windshield. It's got relatively low sills, and it just makes it a more enjoyable experience as you cruise down the road. Then we come to the ride quality. It is perfectly dialed. Not too firm, but definitely not too soft. On a road trip, it soaks up the bump. Yeah, if you hit a really big one, you'll definitely feel it, but for the most part, it's very compliant. And another highly underrated thing for a car that looks this sporty is that it has pretty decent ground clearance, so you're not always trying to avoid all the little bumps and cracks. It's able to clear those quite nicely. Then we come to fuel economy. It's pretty superb. So with these early i8s, you get about 15 miles of all-electric range, and that's great for commuting in the city. Realistically, an 11-year-old battery like this, I've done some testing. If you're really pushing it, you'll probably get 12 miles of range. If you're easy on it, you can get up to 19 or 20 miles of range. But 15, even 11 years later, is pretty much on the money. Now, that's not a lot, but once you deplete that range, you have an 11.1 gallon fuel tank, which also doesn't sound like a lot until you realize this vehicle right now is being propelled by a little teeny tiny 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine. So I'm averaging right now 38.4 mpg over the last 98 miles, and throughout the trip I'll update you guys to see if that gets better or worse. But 38 mpg in a car that'll do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, that you can refill like that, unlike an EV, is very, very good. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but if you are worried about long-term reliability of your used sports car, well, check out Grainger Warranties. Grainger Warranties offers factory-back warranties for all sorts of different makes and models. Use the link below to check them out. All right, let me close you guys back in there, back to the video. One of the things that was so unbelievably badly marketed with the BMW i-Series when it launched all those years ago is there were two, right? There's the i3 and the i8. Now the i3 is primarily a battery electric vehicle with an optional 2-cylinder range extender to limp you to the next charging station. That's not how the i8 works at all. This is primarily a gasoline vehicle with a little battery that'll help you get to work on electricity only. So it's kind of a reverse philosophy. People didn't understand that. People still don't understand plug-in hybrids. If you look at the data, the majority of the public really is befuddled by what plug-in hybrids are and how they work. But all you need to know is that this car drives and operates like a gasoline car. So once you deplete that little 7 kilowatt hour battery, it's got a 6-speed automatic, it drives, it shifts just like a gasoline car, and that electric system is just there for a boost and for fuel economy. And really, 38 mpg, it's pretty stellar. And it means that even with just a teeny tiny 11-gallon tank, you can do, realistically, 350 miles on a tank, which is very good. But it's super quiet in here. These seats are incredible. You've got heated seats in this vehicle. This one doesn't have adaptive cruise control, but you could option them with adaptive cruise control. It's got a banging Harman Kardon audio system. Doesn't have Apple CarPlay. I think the later ones did. This early 2015 one does not. But you do have iDrive. Just hook it up to Bluetooth. Works well enough. Get a phone mount so you can see navigation. It's fine. It's comfortable. It's really quiet. There's not a lot of tire noise because these tires are pretty thin relative to what a sports car is. It is a perfect road tripper. The front end of an i8 is very steeply slanted, and it has an electric motor and a 2-speed transmission in the front. So there's no trunk space in the front. In the back, you have a pretty good size well, but it's not very long, which means that larger bags don't fit, so you end up putting a lot of stuff in the back seat. So right now I've got some riding gear because I'm off to a Can-Am trip in South Dakota. But if you're trying to, go on a little couples retreat, you're gonna have to pack pretty light. I really wish that they engineered this thing with a front trunk. That'd be quite nice. Number 2, reliability. The number one comment whenever I do an i8 video, and I guarantee the number one comment in this video is going to be, there is nothing more expensive than a cheap German car. This is by no means a cheap German car, but the sentiment there is buying a depreciated used German exotic is just financially ruining. So let's talk about it. Is the BMW i8 a genuinely reliable used car, or is it going to leave you bankrupt? BMW sold 20,400 i8s from model years 2014 through about 2020, which, when you consider this is a mid-engine carbon fiber moonshot, it's kind of a lot of cars. It also means that the common issues in i8s are very well established, and I'm happy to report there are very few common problems with these cars. Now let's start with the AC impeller. I talked to Franny from Heidi and Franny's Garage, very, very talented mechanic, and she was saying some i8s have experienced a problem where the impellers essentially grenade, sending fragments of metal through the AC system, which is a problem because the battery is cooled on that AC system. Now, she said that problem is very, very small in percentage, but it is something worth noting. Other common i8 issues: low voltage batteries can go out, not the big powerful battery, just the normal 12 volt. Typically has to be replaced by the dealer because it has to be programmed in. Door struts, some little things here and there, but genuinely, folks, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, BMW i8s are very, very well engineered cars. When you consider that this was BMW's halo back in the day, they had to get it right out of the gate, especially when it was such a pioneering product for a new powertrain that they were expecting to take off. So from everybody I've talked to, these cars are very, very reliable. When you look at that 3-cylinder engine, same engine that they used in the Mini Cooper. It's been around forever now. It's very well established. It's kind of a 3-cylinder version of the 6-cylinder B58, which was co-developed with Toyota. So that gasoline engine's got a really good reputation. The battery system, right? Similar design chemistry to what they use in the i3. Now, for example, Andre has owned an i3. He and his wife have owned it now for 70,000+ miles. It has been perfect from reliability. Many, many i3s out there, really, really reliable cars. Always worry about that high voltage battery. Oh, it's gonna be a $50,000, $70,000 failure when that happens. You can buy used packs online for $8,000-ish, and really from owners I've talked to, techs I've talked to, very few batteries actually genuinely fail. The only time that these cars are problematic is when people let them sit for a long time on end. That's when they start developing issues. But if you drive your i8, you fill that battery up, you drain it, you fill it up, you drain it, you actually use it, they last forever. And the number one reason I think that this BMW i8 is the single most underrated car of the last 25 years is the sheer bandwidth of things this car is good at. It's great around town. Putt around on electricity, don't use any gas. It's great on the highway. Super comfortable, averages over 35 mpg. We proved on this trip, 38, 39 is not out of the question. It's also fun in the twisty, so I'm now entering the Black Hills of South Dakota. And I know this car is not as sharp as a Porsche 911, but it is still a darn fun car to drive. I mean, we're only talking 3,500 pounds all-wheel drive and 350 horsepower that's low to the ground. That's a pretty good recipe for fun, and the steering is shockingly communicative. I think this steering is actually better than our C8 Corvette. It tells you more about what's going on underneath the tires. The rack is the perfect ratio, and it sticks pretty darn well considering the tires aren't all that wide. Plus, when you stick it into sport mode, you know, click down a couple cogs on the paddle shifter, it does simulate some sound. Listen, it's not gonna be a screaming V8 sound, but it does give you some feedback as to what the engine is doing. And then the number one thing I think is important to remember about this hybrid system is this is not a CVT, right? When people think hybrids, they think of the Prius or they think of like the Ford Maverick now, right? In one way or another, most hybrids are some sort of continuously variable transmission. It might be belt-in cone, but it also might be an eCVT, like what you're gonna find in a Honda, right? Where it's primarily an electric car. This is not like that. This car, when you stick it in sport mode, drives like a conventional gasoline car with 6 gears. All that hybrid system does is provide boost. It provides a little bit of additional kick. And of course, all-wheel drive, because that front axle is powered by electricity only. But genuinely, folks, this is a fun car to drive. Anybody who says otherwise, I think, is lying to you. And listen, if this car had the twin-turbo V8 that BMW's been using for a lot of years in the back with a screaming exhaust, this would be a $250,000 car. But because this is confusing hybrid system, which I think is actually pretty phenomenal, this is a $40,000 car. We paid $48,000. It's probably worth closer to $40,000 now. What a machine for the money. We're talking like new Camry money on the upper end. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has been Tommy. Head over to alltfl.com, subscribe to TFL Car for more videos like this. Or don't if you hated it. I don't know, try something new. We made it to South Dakota, 350 plus miles. I'm just as refreshed as I was earlier this morning, and I had a great time doing it. What a machine! We'll see you next time.